The Supreme Court today gutted one of President Trump's signature policies, rejecting his effort to end birthright citizenship as we know it. In attacking that 150-year-old right, the Trump administration argued it, quote, degrades the meaning and value of American citizenship and doesn't work in a modern world where, quote, 8 billion people are one plane ride away from having a child who's a U.S. citizen. But Chief Justice John Roberts rejected those arguments in a 26-page majority opinion, while Justice Samuel Alito, in dissent, called this one of the most important decisions in the history of the court and a serious mistake. Chief Legal Correspondent Jan Crawford has been digging into this ruling since the moment it came down and joins us again. Jan, good evening.
Well, good evening, Tony. The court said that the framers of the 14th Amendment extended the promise of citizenship to almost, quote, every free person born in this land, rejecting President Trump's efforts to rewrite the Constitution with the stroke of a pen. In one of the first executive orders of his second term, on Inauguration Day, President Trump tried to end birthright citizenship. Today, after the Supreme Court rejected his effort in a forcefully worded opinion, he called the ruling too bad for our country and urged Congress to take action immediately. Trump had argued the 14th Amendment was intended to grant citizenship to freed slaves and their descendants after the Civil War, not to the 250,000 babies born every year to people here illegally or temporarily. But in the decision by Chief Justice John Roberts, joined by Trump appointee Amy Coney Barrett and the 3 liberal justices, the court said, under the Constitution, they are citizens at birth. Juan Perano, CEO of LULAC, cheered the ruling.
I mean, the stakes are 400,000 to 500,000 children born in the United States to parents that may be undocumented, or at least in the process of getting legal status in the United States. All those children born would not have been U.S. citizens, and they would have been stateless.
Now, the decision means that the court ruled against 2 of President Trump's major initiatives. Earlier this term, they struck down his tariffs policy, and today, birthright citizenship. Tony?
Hello, Bobby Jones here from MeidasTouch and Ballot Media Networks. Recently, as in this past week, the Supreme Court of the United States just upheld the 14th Amendment to the United States Constitution. For those who don't know, simply put, it is the amendment that grants birthright citizenship to any individual born within the United States or its territories. Now, for just a very brief historical lesson, this amendment was ratified because in the aftermath of the Civil War, there were millions of newly freed slaves that needed to be made citizens of the United States. The amendment has basically gone on to allow immigrants who move to this country to actually have families that are American. It has certainly changed the dynamic of the United States, and in my humble opinion, very easily for the better. Now, while this ruling was coming down and hardcore conservatives in the United States were complaining about birthright citizenship, it's the browning of America, etc., the U.S. men's soccer team has gone on a run in the World Cup that's being hosted by the United States, Canada, and Mexico. Recently, the United States won their first knockout round match versus Bosnia-Herzegovina 2-0. And it's only the second time here in the last 24 years that the United States, 28 years that they've advanced in the knockout phase. But what's interesting about this is this dynamic of Team USA rallying the country, and everybody, especially conservatives, are rooting them on to victory, while not realizing that the 14th Amendment is literally the only reason this team has been able to be put together. In that win, the United States had to play down an individual because we got a red card. And it just so happened that Florian Balogun, who was born in Brooklyn when his mom was visiting her sister, raised in the UK, but whose family originates from Nigeria, has been Team USA's #1 scorer. he is an American citizen. He actually chose to play for the United States over England in 2023. But he's not the only one. You have many Americans on this team that have dual citizenship, thanks to the 14th Amendment and from their families' home nations, allowing them to have citizenship too. It is literally a smorgasbord of talent that was raised all over the world in different academies, in different nations that have come together to form the best United States men's soccer team we've ever had. And I think that is the best way to literally celebrate the 250th anniversary of the United States, because based on what's been going on in Washington, D.C. with the current administration, President Trump, and all the celebrations that they're trying to have, they've fallen flat. As a matter of fact, there are many people who would say that the 250th celebrations have been an absolute bust because President Trump has gone out of his way to make them political. You see the large, great state fair that's happening on the Washington, D.C. Mall. No one's attending. The concerts that they were going to have all these artists, they all backed out. And now July 4th is just merely going to be President Trump giving a speech. Pretty low key, considering this is the 250th anniversary of the United States and the signing of the Declaration of Independence. However, what the men's soccer team is doing right now is showing you what the United States at its best can be. The unity of the diversity under one flag is in my opinion, what makes America great. And on top of that, the world coming to the United States, Canada, and Mexico has been awesome. To watch people come specifically to the United States and get a piece of American culture, witness it by the people who live in the United States, not the politicians who try to project something, has been, in a lot of respects, healing. It's a long way to go to pull ourselves out of what we have caused internationally. But to see people from all over the world come to the United States and thoroughly enjoy themselves. I mean, the thing that I'm loving to do now is watching people from other countries, to include the players, come into a small community in the United States and be in awe, and how the small community fully welcomes them. I mean, take Team Spain, for example. They were basically headquartered in Chattanooga, Tennessee, as they were training for their matches in Atlanta, where I'm from. They got to experience all of the Tennessee culture, to include the Walmarts and everything, and to watch their players say, we don't have this, this is cool, to go to a Buc-ee's, which is a massive gas station that's like Disneyland at the same time, has been hilarious, but it's also been very cool. And that's just it. Everything that's happening with the World Cup, to include the U.S. men's soccer team making the run that they have made, is throwing in the face of Donald Trump, Pete Hegseth, and all of these war hawks that the United States has to be some big bully to be great. No, the United States has to be who they are, and that is a diverse mixture of culture and people from all over the world that came together in this land to match up with the people who were already there, to include the Native Americans, the First Nationers, all of these, the freed slaves, all of these people who came here through either Ellis Island, though, or maybe in chains, or they were already here, coming together to form a nation. Is it perfect? No, not even close. But we were given the apparatus to help make change, to get better. And the first step in doing that is being your best version of yourself, fighting for what you know is right, and most importantly, being welcoming and accepting to other cultures that add to the tapestry that has created the United States. So as bleak as things were for me looking at our country at the 250th anniversary, ironically, it's the World Cup and the world coming to America that has given me hope for the future.
Want to stay plugged in? Become a subscriber to our Substack at MeidasPlus.com. You'll get daily recaps from Ron Filipkowski, ad-free episodes of our podcast, and more exclusive content only available at MeidasPlus.com.